Hey guys, Half-Ass Chappy. Hey, some do an oil change, the first oil change on this 2023 Honda Navi. It's got a little under 600 miles on it. Manual calls for doing it about 600. This is 2023. I didn't start it until this year, so that's why there's such low miles. But you do the first oil change just to get the contaminants out. You do it early to get the contaminants out of the engine and start with fresh oil. It's very simple. It's a very simple process. I know some people say, no, I'm not a mechanic. However, I've been around bikes since I was a kid. I've owned a motorcycle shop, so I kind of know what I'm doing with this kind of stuff. Been around bikes a long time. However, I'm not a mechanic. Take it to a mechanic if you want, but you can handle this yourself. There's nothing to it. It takes less than a quart of oil. Needs just a few hand tools, and the job is done. So let's get started. I'll show you what. All right. So you need, I get gloves, extension, ratchet, 17 millimeter, 12 millimeter. I got the 12 millimeter and 17 millimeter wrench sitting out just in case, depending on what you want to use. You don't need a full gallon of oil. It takes 1 quart of oil. I run a GN4 in the Honda. I also run in my Kawasaki's and so forth. I just always liked it. There's nothing that special about it. Just get yourself a good 4-stroke oil. You'll be in good shape. Also need a oil pan. My traditional oil pan won't fit under the Navi with the size it is. So what I do is I use my wife's old Tupperware shit that she doesn't throw away. So I make it disappear, and then she yells at me later. So those are the tools you need. You don't need a screwdriver, but that is it. So let's get started. I'll show you. All right, here's the Navi. I got it on the center stand right now. For future reference, just to let you know, I will be removing the center stand. That thing scrapes going around bends. I put wider tires on. I put 120/70 tires on it. It does lean a lot easier, so it goes down far enough to where it scrapes that center stand. We're taking it up to Skyline Drive this weekend, and I don't want that on there scraping going around the bends and stuff. You wouldn't think it would, but it does. Maybe it's because of my fat ass that's on it. But either way, what you got is a drain plug, a 12 millimeter drain plug, and that's, again, guys, that's on the right side of the bike. Go directly below, and there's a, if you can see it, 12 millimeter plug. You'll remove that plug. Make sure you don't lose the washer in the meantime. That's where my wife's Tupperware bowl that she doesn't know I have sits under there. It's small enough, and then I'll put it in the big container. Then when you're done with that, put the bowl back in. And on this side of the bike, on the left side, you'll notice underneath the air box, there's a 17 millimeter filter. It's not a paper filter. It's a screen with a spring on it. So when you remove that, be careful because it wants to push out. So putting it in is a little bit tricky because you got to put the spring in while you're turning the nut. Now, I don't use a torque wrench. I guess you should. Again, I'm not a mechanic. I'm half-ass. But I've never had a problem either. When you tighten them up, just snug them. You don't over crank them. They just get snugged up there. So that's it. I'll remove everything and I'll show you. Okay, I went with a 12 millimeter socket with an extension on it. Slide this under here. It shouldn't be that tight. Again, this is from the factory. Okay, there it is. And I'll show you the washer I was talking about. Let that oil drain. There's the washer there. You don't want to lose it. Make sure you keep that intact. Just check it out. Make sure there's no debris on it. And that's it. It only holds, again, it only holds a quart of oil. A little less than a quart. The manual calls for 0.85 quart. So let that drain. And I'll show you the spring. Okay, again, I'm going to go with a 17 millimeter socket. with an extension to break that bolt loose. Not much to it. Sorry about that. Okay, I got that broke loose. I'm waiting for that oil over there to stop. Let me go put the plug in there so I can use the same bucket. Nah, I'll just do it. Nah, better not. Hang on. Put the bolt back in there. Now I did loosen the oil cap, by the way, to let it drain a little bit better, a little faster. Okay, there's the bucket. Let's try it again. Let's try it again, fellas. Show you this filter, if you want to call it that. You can feel the spring pop pushing out. There it is. Okay. There's a rubber O-ring in there. You want to make sure that's clean before you put it back on. That's the seal. And there's a screen right there. I don't know if you can see that real well. You see how dirty it is. So what I do is get a rag. I don't know if you can see inside there. Got some shit in there. So what I do is get a rag, wipe it out real good. You can put some WD-40 on it if you want to clean it, spray it through, and then just dry it off. Okay, what I did to clean this is I used a cloth rag, wiped it all out, and then ran an air compressor over it and just blew everything out. And you can see how much more clean that is. Nothing restricting the oil. When you put this back in, here's the spring. You're gonna put it in this way, and then the nut is going to go on top and push it in. A little trick of the trade that I've learned over the years: get it started with a socket and a ratchet, so it helps the leverage with getting the thread started. And you can put, that helps with the pressure of the spring kicking it back out. You don't drop it all back into the oil or onto the ground. And again, same thing with this. Just snug it up. Get a nice little snug. You're done. And then you put calls for 0.8 quarts of oil in it. And then when you check the oil, it should be full. That's all it wrote, guys. But let me know if you have any questions or concerns. All right, guys, I know that was a half-assed video, but at the same time, this is a very simple project to do. Now that I've got both bolts back in, and again, just snug them up, give it a good snug. I'll put a little less than a quart of oil into it, check it, it'll be dead on. That's all you do. You fill it with where you check the oil. I'll show you real quick. Okay, so on the right side of the bike, it's right here. Loosen that up. And that's where you fill the oil. Again, put 1 quart of oil, get a little funnel, pour 1 quart of oil in it. That's all there is to it. I say 1 quart, but it calls for 0.85, so just a little under a quart. And when you check the oil, once you put it in, let it run for a couple seconds, shut it back down. When you check the oil, you don't tighten that all the way up. You don't thread it back in. You just put it like so, and you make sure it's on the dipstick. Again, you don't thread it, just put it in there, and you should be full. Again, 0.85 quarts, just under a quart of oil. and you're done changing oil on this. I don't know why people would take it to the dealership to get the oil changed on it. It makes no sense to me. Again, I'm no professional, but I've been around bikes a little bit. This is kind of simple stuff. To me, it's simple, but that's why I made the video. Some people don't know how to change oil. I know my daughter, one of my son-in-laws, they're clueless. I keep the oil changing it for them. But let me know what you think, and if you can, hit subscribe. It's kind of fun showing these kind of videos. Thanks, guys.